Oh! Paw to the face. Hello. Hello, it's been a while. Hello. Hello, everyone. It's been a while. Hey, everybody. It's been a minute since my last recording. Kind of took a week or two to lick my wounds. The SPRT GREE merger kind of kicked me in the teeth, to say the least. Pretty much everything that I was able to accomplish in a month was just like evaporated. But doesn't mean that I've been completely out of it. Just kind of backed off, kind of let things settle out. Not to mention this past couple weeks have been limited at best with movements. I have noticed that some of the sleepers that I pointed out from previous videos, I believe, let's see, some of them that have taken off. The FAMI, that one's blown up. PROG, that one's blown up. JOBY, I think is the done play. BGRY, that one's a done play, but those both were pretty profitable. But yeah, I'm going to try to do a quick one tonight, kind of cover everything real quick. AMC has a lot of stuff that's happening right now with the 10% little run that happened today. That just kind of came out of nowhere. Let's see, just to update on that one, 85.91% utilization, 20.57 short interest, and 1.49 cost to borrow. That one, I would just be careful with AMC. It tends to kind of go peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. And I'm not trying to down on AMC in any way, because I do feel like this could be some movement. There is a gap fill play. There is a lot of catalysts with fundamental stuff, with great movies that are coming out. Venom being one, James Bond being another. And so I do expect, especially next week, I do expect some kind of movement. And then there's the whole lawsuit with Citadel and Robinhood that's just kind of blown up everywhere. So that's definitely one that I'm keeping my eye on. SPRT GERE has, I've been hearing whispers of a potential lawsuit on that one. Not sure how much truth there is to it, or how long that would take, or who it would include. But that is something that I am kind of keeping my ears open for. ATER, I do still feel like that one is a solid play. Some things to go over with that one. The outstanding shares has gone up about 9 million to 44.45. And this, I'm just comparing this week to last week's numbers. The free float percentage, 65.5% last week. It's 45.39% this week. That's a difference of about 3 million shares. So there's less shares in circulation now than there was before. The 99.71 utilization, 43.55 short interest, and 162.30 on the cost to borrow, average cost to borrow. BTCM is another one that I'm keeping a close eye on. 99.30 utilization, 16.2 short interest, and 208.02 average cost to borrow. That one has been on the New York Stock Exchange threshold list, BTCM, and then ATR is on the NASDAQ threshold list, which just means that there's been some failures to delivers, and typically when there's FTDs, a lot of FTDs and issues with FTDs along with short interest, there tends to be some big movements. We saw with AMC back when it was on a threshold list. We've seen it with SPRT when that one was on a threshold list. We've seen it with moves that ATR made before, BBIG made before. I will say BBIG is no longer on the threshold list, but that one does still have a high short interest of 32.15. Utilization has dropped since last week to 92.37. And then the free float percentage has dropped a bit too, which was a little bit confusing for me. But it's seeming like, based on a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing on other channels and in comments, that a lot of people are still in that play. But right now I feel like the likelihood of ATER is a little bit higher because of the not only the utilization, pretty much all the categories are higher, and it's on the threshold list. BTCM is also one that I feel a little bit more confident in than BBIG, but everything is kind of up to your discretion on what you decide to get into. CRCT is one that I still feel like it does have a decent setup, 99.20 utilization, 27.62 short interest, 39.34 cost to borrow. That one has kind of had some movement, so it's kind of on a downward trend now. If that does start to turn around and show some strength, I would be interested in that one again. Let's see, VIH is back to looking like it has some pretty solid numbers, 99.62 utilization, 33.42 short interest, and though the average cost to borrow is 8.04, it's a bit low, but the utilization high and the short interest is high. MVST has been kind of getting beat down a little bit lately, but that one is currently 99.86% utilization, 14.68 short interest, 275.28 on the average cost to borrow. Let's see, any others that I want to mention. Workhorse, WKHS, that one's still at 100% utilization and has been for a while now, 39.68% short interest, 11.26 on the average cost to borrow. Still one that I'm looking at. If that does start to have some movement, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get in on that one. Saba is one that's it's one that I've mentioned before, and its numbers are still looking interesting. The Ortex trends are up for sure. They just keep spiking. 99.43 on the utilization, 34.46 on the short interest, and 10.64 on the average cost to borrow. And then I guess a new one that's making this list, a main list. I guess this one could also get mentioned in my sleeper list. WEBR, Weber, 100% utilization, 36.42 short interest, 357.3 on the average cost to borrow. It has recently made, I think, roughly about a 10% move upward. It seems to be cooling off a little bit in the after hours, which could make an interesting play going forward. It is also a lower float stock and is on the threshold list. So that's one that I'm keeping a really close eye on because the setup on it and it just popping up on the threshold list seems like an ideal potential play. I will do a separate video with the sleeper list. And yeah, thanks for clicking on this, watching this through. I'm sorry that I took some time off from you guys. It was really kind of more of a, I guess, a breather for me to kind of step away and take a second to kind of reconfigure some of my movements, some of my plays, changing it up instead of doing the options, because I'm a little bit more limited fund-wise now. I'm doing like day to shorter term, few day actual stock plays, because those will have less likely of dropping. They won't have huge gains, but they won't have as huge losses. So that's what I'm kind of doing right now, kind of getting in on some stocks, 10, 20, 100, depending on the prices of them, holding them for a couple days, seeing some movement of 20, 30, 40%, and then cycling my way out. The PROG stuff from previously, those are some options that I had from before when I first started mentioning that item as a sleeper item. It's nice that those are bouncing back, along with a few others that now that the market's kind of starting to do its thing. But right now there's a lot of uncertainty with the political system and everything like that. So I would caution a lot of people to set their stop losses and know their risks, just so then they don't end up having to really eat forcibly eat some losses. So that's it for this video. Click the like, subscribe, comment down below any potential plays that you're looking at, and then anything else that you feel like I should potentially cover, either in this video or the other video. And from Mongo and I, good luck in the market.